Hey, we've partnered with a company called Dreamworld to bring you exclusive anime merch that you can't find anywhere else. We've got Meliodas, Bon, Escanor, and so much more. Check it out at enterdreamworld.com or click the link in the description. What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be talking about the latest chapter of the Seven Deadly Sins manga and the apparent ending of the series. According to sources that I'm seeing online, chapter 345 is the second last chapter, and chapter 346, the next chapter, will be the very last. Now in chapter 345, a ton of things happened, and this chapter itself feels like an ending on its own. We got a 1.5 year time skip. We got major revelations about the relationships and families of our favorite characters, and we got some new characters, heirs to the 7 deadly sins. And they have been introduced by name. There is so much to talk about. This was definitely an iconic chapter for every 7 deadly sins fan, so let's get into it. If you enjoy our 7 Deadly Sins videos and you want us to keep it going even after the manga ends, please leave a like to let me know. And if you happen to be new to AnimeUproar, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. Whether you're new or you just haven't turned the bell on yet, please consider turning it on because that is the only way to get our videos, otherwise YouTube will bury them. Just click subscribe, click the bell, and then select the option that says all. Thank you so much. You could also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar for all the latest updates. Finally, this video will of course contain 7 Deadly Sins manga spoilers. We're talking about the very latest chapters in the series, perhaps the final chapters, so please proceed with caution, you have been warned. On the cover page of chapter 345, we see the tiny hand of a baby grabbing the finger of an adult, and the adult is most likely Meliodas. The name of the chapter is Heirs, clearly implying that we are about to be introduced to the next generation of the 7 Deadly Sins. The heirs of the original sins, but more on that later. Right off the bat, we get an 18-month time skip. The events of this chapter are happening 1.5 years after the battle against the Demon King. And so we can assume that both Elizabeth and Meliodas and Bon and Elaine already completed their planned trips across Britannia. We see Slater and a guy who appears to be Simon from the Dawn Roar noting how peaceful everything is now and how all the missions that they have to do, such as capturing thieves or defeating weak monsters, pose almost no challenge for them. The Holy Knights almost seem bored and disappointed at how carefree their lives are, although this is probably better than having to face demons again, let alone the Demon King. When I first saw that other Holy Knight with Slater, I thought it might be a long-haired Arden after the time skip. But an older Arden and Deldry appear later on in the chapter, so I guess this is Simon with curlier hair. During their brief conversation, it is made clear that both Holy Knights consider King Bartra to be the true King of Leonis, and they both seem to have an issue with Meliodas becoming the new king. This is presented as a mere passing comment between them, but it points to a deeper issue. There are probably thousands of people throughout the Kingdom of Leonis who do not want to be ruled by a demon. And at the end of the day, Meliodas is still a demon who now rules over a human kingdom. As the chapter continues, this particular issue is brought up again, and in a big way. We then see our boy Hauser training with Jericho and Gia, and both ladies seem to have changed their hairstyles. Hauser now has a chin and neck beard, but I am not a big fan of his facial hair. How do you grow a beard without growing a stylish mustache? Everyone knows that your power level is multiplied by at least 10 or 20 times if you happen to have a powerful mustache. Just ask Lord Escanor and the mighty Lord Twigo. Hauser is also revealed to be the new Great Holy Knight, the leader of all the Holy Knights. Because let's face it, Gilthunder and Griamore are way too busy keeping the royal princesses happy, if you know what I mean. Puora the fairy then arrives to tell Jericho that Bon and Elaine are about to have a baby, and Jericho excuses herself and sprints over to the Fairy King's forest. Oh man, poor Jericho. She loves Bon so much that she was able to make her peace with the fact that Bon only loves Elaine. And now she is genuinely excited for Bon and Elaine to have a baby. Just try and tell me that Jericho isn't a true hero. This woman is so underrated as a character. She has risked her life for Ban. She'd do anything for him, and she is even willing to give up on ever being with him because she loves him enough to let him be happy with his true love, even if that person isn't her. I actually think that this is really heroic in its own way, and Jericho deserves more credit and more respect. I'm looking at you, Briggs. Meanwhile, Deathpierce from the Pleiades of the Azure Sky decides to leave Leonis and his position as a diamond-ranked Holy Knight. Deathpierce has decided to dedicate his life to resurrecting the kingdom of Edinburgh, the kingdom that had been destroyed by the vampire clan so many years ago. But there is more to the reason why Deathpierce has decided to make this move. As he explains to the other Azure Sky Knights, after a demon killed Denzel and after the goddesses manipulated them, Deathpierce refuses to serve a kingdom that has a demon as its king and a goddess as its queen. Deathpierce is determined to restore Edinburgh as a kingdom for humans and humans alone. Again, as with the Slater scene, Nakaba Suzuki is using Deathpierce to tell us that this is not just a happy ending for everyone. There is still conflict here. The Holy War may be technically over, but clearly there is a large group of humans, including prominent Holy Knights, who deeply resent both the demons and the goddesses and who refuse to be ruled by them. Deathpierce even wants to turn Edinburgh into a kingdom that is only for humans, which emphasizes that the days of discrimination and interspecies conflict may not be over yet. Nakaba didn't have to include these scenes in this chapter. He could have just kept everything positive, but he deliberately chose to introduce this conflict. That is something to think about. Elsewhere, we see that Dreyfus has now become a swordsmanship instructor and Henriksen has become a potions master with his own potions school. It's a pretty mediocre ending for these guys, although their brief conversation does indicate that the next ruler after Meliodas has all but been decided, which is very interesting. And in the next scene, we see King Bartra buying toys for a little kid. It turns out that he is indeed buying toys for his future grandchild, the child of Meliodas and Elizabeth. As Margaret and Gil Thunder and Veronica and Griamore are being all lovey-dovey with each other, King Bartra reveals that he already knows whether Meliodas and Elizabeth are having a boy or a girl thanks to one of his visions. Over in the Fairy King's forest, all the fairies are hilariously confused about what is going on with Elaine. She is pregnant with Bond's child, but since this is the first child ever to be conceived by a fairy and a human, and since fairies don't actually give birth but are born from nature itself, none of the fairies have any clue what is going on inside Elaine's belly, and I thought that was pretty damn funny. Bon and Elaine reveal that they have already decided on a name for their child, and they both look extremely happy about everything. Poor sweet Elaine. She has no idea what she's in for. For her, natural birth means baby fairies growing like plants out of trees and flowers. But I'm afraid that with us humans, it's not quite so peaceful and painless. Best of luck, Elaine. I also thought that it was very cool to see Gerheade calling out to Glaxinia and Ro and telling them what a peaceful place the world has become. As you will remember from the previous Holy War, Gerheade and the human Ro kind of had a thing going on before it all ended in tragedy. So the fact that she is now actually seeing another fairy and another human loving each other and having a child together must be heartwarming for Gerheade. It is something that she has been waiting for over 3,000 years to witness. Back in Leonis, Meliodas is talking to a very pregnant Elizabeth. Elizabeth mentions that Gelda and Zeldris had paid them a visit some time ago, and the two of them couldn't believe that a demon and a goddess could have a baby together. Although Elizabeth is now part human, so not just a goddess. I'm actually really glad that we got to see Gelda and Zeldris again, even if it was just for one brief panel. I didn't want the manga to completely forget about them like say, oh, I don't know, the freaking supreme deity. So I did appreciate this very brief shout out to the hottest power couple of the underworld. Meliodas then tells Elizabeth that he has finally decided on a name for the baby. The baby's name will be Tristan. And it is also revealed that the name of Bond's baby will be Lancelot. This is in accordance with Arthurian legend, where both Lancelot and Tristan were knights of the Round Table who served King Arthur of Camelot, and they were in fact the sons of Ban and Meliodas respectively. In Arthurian legend, both of them were men, so it is likely that the babies will be boys, although Merlin was supposed to be a man in Arthurian legend, and in the Seven Deadly Sins she is a woman, so I guess you never know. Is it just me, or does this really look like the setting up of a next generation of the Seven Deadly Sins? As if a continuation might really be happening. After all, we already have King Arthur Pendragon, and together with Merlin, he has a quest to turn Camelot into the perfect eternal kingdom. We now also know that Ban's son and Meliodas' son are going to be Lancelot and Tristan, two of King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table. If I was Nakaba and I was trying to set up a sequel to the Seven Deadly Sins, I would definitely include the Knights of the Round Table in a prominent role. I mean, Arthurian legend is just so cool. It has already influenced so much of the Seven Deadly Sins story, and the Knights of the Round Table are absolutely iconic. I would love to see the Knights of the Round Table featured in a future Seven Deadly Sins story, in whatever format it might come. I want to be clear that I am not saying that a continuation is definitely happening, but this chapter clearly sets up the possibility of a continuation featuring Arthur, Camelot, and the Knights of the Round Table. And since this chapter introduced the idea that some humans are rejecting Elizabeth and Meliodas and wishing to form a human-only kingdom of their own, this means that Nakaba has already set up a potential conflict that could be explored in the continuation if there ever is one. At the very end of the chapter, Elizabeth speaks to the child inside her belly, and she tells him that she hopes that he will have a wonderful future ahead of him. Meanwhile, Meliodas looks out the castle window, he says his iconic "Sate sate sate," and he wonders what kind of future awaits. Again, if you wanted to set up a sequel or a continuation, what better way than to introduce the next generation of the characters? Include an overarching quest with Arthur and Merlin, introduce a conflict featuring humans who reject Meliodas and Elizabeth, and then end the chapter with a heavy focus on the future. At this time, there is no confirmation of a sequel or continuation, but with the way that this ending has been written, we have to conclude that the door to such a possibility has been left open. I'm actually considering making a separate video that looks at Lancelot and Tristan in Arthurian legend and speculates about what kind of adventures they might have if there is a Seven Deadly Sins sequel. If you'd like to see a video like that, please leave a like to let me know and drop a comment informing me that you want to see that video down in the comments. Honestly, as a final ending, this isn't bad at all. In fact, I really like it a lot. I love seeing the next generation being born, I love the uncertainty about the future, and I love the prospect of seeing the Knights of the Round Table being introduced as the heroes of the next generation. But, as I mentioned in my previous Seven Deadly Sins video, I would have preferred that before all this happens, we actually got to see a fight against the Supreme Deity. Personally, I would have made Kath just a side villain who leads up to the Supreme Deity, and I would have made Chaos Power the one thing that can ultimately defeat the Supreme Deity. This would have given us a more satisfying final villain, and it would have explained why Merlin was so obsessed with reviving the King of Chaos. That would have made a lot more sense to me than just ignoring the Supreme Deity, but hey, that's my opinion. With that said, I love that Lancelot and Tristan, two Knights of the Round Table, are about to be born into the Seven Deadly Sins world. As Gerheade observed, the loving relationship between Elaine and Ban is a symbol of how far we've moved beyond the war and bloodshed of the Holy Wars. And Meliodas and Elizabeth's relationship is also a symbol of this progress. Even though things are not yet perfect and there is still clear resentment between the different clans and races, important progress has been made and most of our favorite characters have undergone tremendous development. To be honest, Merlin is the only one of the Sins who still needs more development in my opinion. But I'm definitely not complaining about this turn of events. I would have just liked to see the lead up to this type of ending unfold differently. It's funny, back when I collaborated with pro manga artist Kuzomari to create a fictional son of Meliodas and Elizabeth, one of the most popular name ideas for this character was actually Tristan because of Arthurian legend. If you are interested in what potential powers the son of a demon and a goddess could have, definitely check out our video on the son of Meliodas and Elizabeth, the Son of Wrath, link in the description. Also, please let me know what you guys think. How are you enjoying these apparent final chapters, if this really is the end? Are you excited for the Knights of the Round Table? Are you expecting a continuation, or do you think that this is truly it? Meliodas' iconic "sate sate sate" at the end of this chapter really hit me right in the feels, not gonna lie. Hit me up with your feedback down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more 7 Deadly Sins content, please leave a like to let me know, it really does help. And if you happen to be new to AnimeUproar or you just haven't subscribed yet, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. If you don't go through the trouble of hitting the bell and selecting the option that says all, you're gonna miss a lot of our videos. It's just how YouTube works. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar for all the latest updates. I want to give a big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. With YouTube constantly facing problems left and right, patron support means more than ever. Thank you guys so much. First and foremost, I want to thank our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Ingrata, Alolan Adam, The World, Steelers, The School Bus, Tyson Quirino, A Quiet Respect, and Pate Hefa. And I can't forget our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Nothing But a Fan, Jason Wilson, Odin, Anatoly Kazatsky, Alpha Dio, Angel Cruz, Team Sparky 65, Rohan Kapoor, Cricket XP, $50 Beat, Ted No Ted, Jalter, Joe Stanton, Very Gucci, Jessica Kayla Fond, Alicia Octer, Emperor Otaku, and JCC Waka. If you guys enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value for you, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these amazing people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.